Dun-dun-dun-dun-dun, Show's World.
Welcome to Show's World, gamers. Josh here, and as this week draws to a close, I wanted to take a moment to look at this week's biggest news stories, gaming announcements, and this week's video game releases. If this is your first time on the channel, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button to join in on the fun. Alright gamers, let's kick off this week in review with this week's news stories. Now, in some huge news that actually appears to be true, as it has been corroborated by multiple reputable sources that claim to have been a part of this said presentation, the Switch 2 was reportedly shown off to a handful of developers in a behind-the-scenes closed-door presentation at Gamescom. As reported by Jez Corden and corroborated by Eurogamer, among others, information is limited, but apparently a souped-up version of Breath of the Wild was shown, and The Matrix Awakens, the Unreal Engine 5 tech demo with visuals comparable to PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. They also stated the system is expected to be released before holiday of 2024. Now, Nintendo also announced a few new console bundles this week. One was their yearly holiday bundle of the standard Nintendo Switch with a digital code for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, as well as a code for 3 months of Nintendo Switch Online, releasing early this year on October 6th. They also announced 2 Animal Crossing themed Nintendo Switch Lite consoles, which will come with a digital version of Animal Crossing New Horizons included. There will be an Isabelle Aloha edition, as well as a Timmy and Tommy's Aloha edition. Both will have a leaf on the front and leaf graphics on the back, and will release on October 6th in the US for $199.99. Now, we also got our first look at the special The Last of Us attraction, which opened this week at the Universal Orlando and Universal Studios Hollywood theme parks as part of their special Halloween Horror Nights events. The attraction is a walk-through haunted house-style maze that looks really cool. It takes around 5 minutes and is packed with jump scares and infected and other survivors along with Joel and Ellie, and is based more on the video game and not the HBO series. The maze will be available as part of Halloween Horror Nights through Halloween on select nights, so check the Universal website for more info if you're planning on going. And shout out to Five Fire's YouTube for this awesome footage. He has a really cool channel that covers theme parks. Definitely check him out. Now, we have also gotten word that SAG-AFTRA members are preparing to vote on a possible video game strike. If the decision is made to go forward, that would mean both voice and physical actors would go on strike, bringing many studios to a screeching halt, much like the film and television industry is right now. I do think this is going to happen, and is going to have a major impact on the next couple of years, especially for companies like Sony, Microsoft, Activision, and Rockstar, and their upcoming games. In an interview with Famitsu, and translated by Eurogamer, Mr. Aonomo of Nintendo and current lead on the Legend of Zelda franchise, while talking about the Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, stated, "There are no plans to release additional content this time. But that's because I feel like I've done everything I can to create games in that world." So, it looks like they are moving on to the next Zelda game, and it sounds as if it will not be another direct sequel. Personally, I would love to see them do a full open world remake of Zelda 2 from the NES. It is my least favorite game in the franchise, but I think it has a ton of promise. Next up, let's take a look at some gaming announcements. Now, G.I. Joe Wrath of Cobra is a classic beat-em-up style game coming in 2024. Now, on the heels of the popularity of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Shredder's Revenge, I wondered what the next classic franchise would be to adopt a super fun multiplayer arcade beat-em-up style game with that awesome nostalgic graphic style. Well, G.I. Joe was definitely not on that list, but I am definitely here for it. As an 80s kid, G.I. Joe was must-see TV, and I can't wait to get more info on this game, and will definitely be playing it when it does release. Now, Anima Song of the Abyss received an announcement trailer this week, and will be coming to the Nintendo Switch, PC, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, Xbox One, and Xbox Series systems. The game is a new action RPG set in the world of Gaia. From the renowned role-playing book franchise Anima Beyond Fantasy, the game allows you to control 2 different characters, and the gameplay and combat is looking really promising. No release date has been announced yet. Now, EA Sports WRC was announced this week, coming to the PlayStation 5, the PC, and Xbox Series systems on November 3rd of this year, with PC VR support coming at a later date. This is a realistic simulation off-road rally racing game and holds the official license of the World Rally Championships. No word on a PSVR 2 mode yet. Now, Ebenezer and the Invisible World received an announcement trailer with a release date of November 3rd of this year. The game is a Metroidvania game that I'm really sold on. This will definitely be a day one, which just happens to be my birthday, pickup. The game definitely leans more towards the Castlevania than Metroid, giving some vibes of games like Symphony of the Night. I really hope the soundtrack in the game is indicative of what we see here in the trailer, because it sounds really good. But we'll have to wait and see on that. Now, Rugrats Adventures in Game Land is coming to PC and consoles in 2024 and is an absolute love story to the early 90s, with a special edition that comes in a classic NES box and even reports saying a classic NES cartridge playable on an NES console will be packed in. The regular game will be playable in an 8-bit mode with the ability to toggle to HD graphics. It will support solo or local co-op, and Tommy, Chucky, Phil, and Lil will all be playable in the game. Alright gamers, let's finish up with this week's new game releases. Now, Starfield finally released fully this week on Xbox Series systems, PC, and on Game Pass. The Bethesda space exploration game has been a polarizing topic online over the past few weeks, and I'm glad the game is finally out. So far, critics seem to really like the game. I've only barely scratched the surface of the game, and so far, so good. There is a lot to do and a lot of different gameplay beyond just that exploration, and I highly suggest giving this game a shot. I'm really liking it so far. Now, Baldur'S 3 released a few weeks ago on PC after 3 years of being in early access, and it instantly became a Game of the Year contender. And this week, we finally got our first console release of the game as it released on the PlayStation 5. The game is also coming to Xbox Series systems later this year. The game is a story-rich, party-based online RPG set in the universe of Dungeons & Dragons, where your choices shape the tale of fellowship and betrayal, and the PS5 is also getting very, very high reviews. Now, NBA 2K24 also released this week with updated, more responsive gameplay and polished visuals while playing with your favorite NBA and WNBA teams. The game is coming to the Nintendo Switch, the PlayStation 4, the PlayStation 5, PC, Xbox One, and Xbox Series systems. Also new to this year's game, as Kobe is the main cover athlete, is the new Mamba Moments challenges. Now, Chants of Sinar released this week on the Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, PC, Xbox One, and Xbox Series systems. The game is an indie game, and it has a really cool stylized graphic style that I really like. The game is being called a narrative adventure game with puzzle elements in a colorful, poetic setting inspired by the myth of Babel. Now, Fae Farm released this week on the Nintendo Switch and PC. The game is a cozy farm sim role-playing game with some elements from Animal Crossing and can be played single player or multiplayer with up to 3 friends, where you will craft, cultivate, and decorate to grow your homestead and use spells to explore the enchanted island of Azoria. Alright gamers, that concludes this week in review for the week ending on September the 8th. The week started with the announcement that the much discussed PlayStation Portal PS5 Wi-Fi device will release on November 15th with pre-orders live now. Then we started getting rumors of our next Nintendo Direct coming, possibly next week. And the week ended with word that a sequel to the hit theatrical Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Mutant Madness film will be coming in video game form in 2024. But let me know anything we may have missed in the comments, and thanks for joining us today, gamers. Shoge World, out.